It's number 224. This is 224th session of Owl Freedom Teachings. What it's called now used to be Aloha Aini Dao Living Conversations. We are Aloha Aini Dao Living, and this is Blue Sacred Heron Woman with you, who prepares every week an exposition of a piece of research that is done regarding our movement into wholesome freedom. I'm Julian Katari, and welcome to this session, which is about pleasure, the pleasure commandments. And it's nice to put it plainly and direct and say, this is what you have to keep in mind. This is what you have to accomplish or meet in order to give and receive pleasure.
Well, and we'll weigh in from both of us on what we think about these, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that exercise of seeing what seems doable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So before we get into the pleasure commandments, let's continue a little bit on the vein of last week of pleasure. Right, just experiencing pleasure. So all animals feed, but only human beings savor food with passion. We eat to nourish, we eat to celebrate, we eat to commemorate, but most of all, we eat for pleasure.
Yeah.
And everything in our world has us eating for not pleasure.
That's been on my mind lately so much, what we've been talking about. And this the fact that because let me put this in here, the Ukupacha in the Andean worldview, the inner world where the Munai comes from, is this, and I just saw a video because I was searching Ukupacha and about the carnival in Bolivia, where they have the Diablada, and in the Diablada, like the devil's dance, there's the bears. There's these bears that the Peruvians then don't know what they mean, and they just copied it and made a gorilla version, which has nothing to do with the bear. But so the bear in the animal worldview represents this low desire of achieving pleasure, like a bear out in nature that just is there ready to just snap what it wants without thinking about it or feeling bad about what it wants, and how important and natural that is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And how much this we've been almost by the system. It's kind of, I see it's kind of trying to make us get used to an idea, be it spiritually or with a technical language, whatever language they use, but they want us to think that we're not worthy of living in paradise full of pleasure.
Yeah.
Right. That's something that is, that's too.
That's only for the elite.
Only for the elite, of course, that's what they want, but also, I don't know. They try to see this in our minds, ways to see that as a negative thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're supposed to be really humble and just eat. If we, and that's the technocratic agenda. It's like, if they can feed us pills with vitamins, wouldn't that be a scientific advancement?
Yeah.
And just, but I think they're realizing they're coming to understand, even through AI, that they can't get rid of the bear in the human that we're,
Yeah, they can't.
They can't.
Yeah.
Like change something that gives us pleasure and just give us the nutritional aspects of it without the pleasurable aspect of it.
Exactly. It's the pleasure drive is a very strong drive. So yeah, in 1825, a culinary philosopher said that the discovery of a new dish does more for human happiness than the discovery of a new star. And I would agree with that. Taste.
Wow. I mean, that's true. Yeah.
It does. Yeah, it is. Because taste is. Go ahead.
No, I'm loving that comparison.
Yeah. The discovery of a new dish does more for human happiness than the discovery of a new star. Absolutely. So taste is more than a matter of survival. Taste and smell evolved to help us avoid poisons and seek nutrition. Our sweet tooth evolved to guide our ancestors toward ripe fruits, ready sources of energy, and certain vitamins, as well as structured water. Well, this whole concept of structured water is very big now. And they've been finding that desert dwellers don't drink as much water as we do because they eat fruits like pomegranates that are already, the water is already structured in them.
Yeah.
So when you look at it this way, you understand that this is something that cannot be stopped, right? This drive for pleasure, to eat and for passion, right? Because it helped us figure this out. So now we are confronted with a cornucopia of processed and synthetic foods that taste, smell, and look exactly like what they are not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
We have regular access to mountains of food for which we have not been evolutionarily prepared. So then the challenge is for us to make peace with our inborn appetites for pleasure in the land of phenomenal food temptations. So at every meal, we eat foods that either enliven us or depress us. And if we choose correctly, we are better able to sleep, play, make love, think, and work. So let's take a look at meals eaten by 4 fictitious people.
Okay.
Sophia is on a perpetual diet, but she's at the restaurant. She's looking longingly at the bread basket and pasta offerings, and then she declines these fattening carbohydrates. She chooses a salad with cottage cheese. Alicia, who's sitting beside her.
Is not the best.
Yeah. Chooses a shrimp cocktail followed by a fillet of broiled fish served with carrots and a bowl full of fresh berries for dessert. She enjoys a lively conversation throughout the meal and then returns to her office clear-headed and ready to work. Alex hits the bread basket. He downs a plate full of pasta and tops it off with a fruit tart. He comments constantly on how tasty and satisfying the food is. However, before he finishes eating, he's slipping into a mellow mood and he just wants to sleep or just relax, right? Brett took his first bite of his main entree. His mouth explodes, his eyes bulge, and his breathing halts. Tears streams from his eyes, the floodgates of his nose bolt open, and the sweat gland of his brow weeps uncontrollably. Then slowly a smile spreads over his face, and he sighs with a, "Oh boy, that was good." He just ate a dish laced with hot chili peppers. So all 4 of these people have consumed different foods and all experienced different degrees of pleasure during and after the meal, although we don't know if Sophia had any pleasure at all with her salad and cottage cheese.
That's a little bit, maybe. Let's say a little, very little.
Yeah, right. So why did Alicia, after a protein-rich meal, feel alert? And would it be just the protein or would it be the seafood? That's the question. It's we got to get more specific, I think. But why did she feel alert and full of pep while Alex, feasting on carbohydrates, felt relaxed and drowsy? Food is pleasurable not only because of its taste, smell, and texture and ability to fill hungry bellies. Certain foods trigger the release of brain chemicals, neurotransmitters, which we experience as pleasure. Neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers of the brain and the nervous system, affect our appetite for certain foods that promote the production of that neurotransmitter. So dopamine and norepinephrine, the alertness chemicals, make us think and react more quickly and feel more attentive, motivated, and mentally energetic. Serotonin, the calming chemical, relaxes us, eases tension, and causes drowsiness. It may also decrease sensitivity to pain. And these are just the most well-known chemicals. So it may be instinctive when we choose to eat certain foods to bolster the production of these neurotransmitters. Alicia's meal of protein then is what gave her body the fodder for more norepinephrine and dopamine, which sent her back to the office ready to work. Alex's carbohydrate meal raised the levels of tryptophan in his brain. Tryptophan is a building block of serotonin. And then Brett's meal with his chili peppers actually helped to boost the body's metabolic rate and burn calories. So, what's the bottom line of this? It's not just we can go with the macrobiotic, which is plain, whole foods only, or we realize that we love variety and crave different taste sensations, and we need to experiment. And much of the taste of food lies in its odor. So flavoring our food with a variety of volatile compounds like chili peppers or oregano or, spices helps the taste. Chewing our food thoroughly then, and here's a recommendation of the macrobiotic diet macrobiotic plan is that you chew every mouthful at least 28 times because your stomach does not have teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So chewing your food thoroughly not only breaks it down, it releases more tasty molecules and creates air currents to carry the volatile odor molecules up the back of the throat to the olfactory receptors of the nose. So if you're rushing through your meal, you're never even going to taste it. Not only that, you're not chewing it correctly, so then you're going to get heartburn because your stomach doesn't have teeth.
Yeah.
So since the research on food and mood is very incomplete, we need to experiment with our bodies. That's what this is. No holds barred experimentation, right? Don't worry about what common medical, let's just freaking experiment. And make note of our experiments. And if we pass out for 4 hours after meal, we pass out for 4 hours after meal. Oh, well. Right? We're like, that makes us sleep. That kind of a meal makes us sleep. So, right? Then
the body's going to respond uniquely.
Yes, exactly. So now let's shift into the pleasure commandments. So the power to give pleasure is the greatest power each one of us has. What is pleasure? Pleasure is being pleased, being plump with satisfaction, full of joy, ecstatic, orgasmic, excited, aroused, and at the same time feeling secured and cared for. Pleasure is what literally and figuratively. The cultivation of peaceful pleasures quell the impulse to violence. And a researcher who studied violence and sexual behavior in over 49 cultures found that our brains have a built-in reciprocal or INI relationship between pleasure and violence. So when the pleasure systems of the brain are activated, they inhibit the neural systems that mediate violence.
Wow.
So let's commit to cultivating the very strong values of love instead of war, pleasure instead of violence and misery, lust instead of greed, less work instead of more possessions and things. The value of sexual connection, not gender competition, and the value of giving and not holding back. The sexes are, in fact, really not opposite. Men are not from Mars and women are not from Venus. We are both from this beautifully wild sexual planet Earth.
Okay.
And we are far more alike, body, mind, and soul, than we are different. Masculinity and femininity are not inevitable roles to which we are eternally bound, but they're erotic opportunities to experience life and express ourselves fully. Over the course of evolution, nature has provided us with powerful chemical rewards that give us feelings of pleasure when we give and receive love. So as we fall in love, we're flooded with amphetamine-like chemicals. This is why people search out amphetamines, right? For that high. Mm-hmm. One of them is called PEA. It starts in the brain and it races along the nerves. These pleasure chemicals are literally painkillers. That's why an orgasm can cure a headache, a hug can ease tension, and a kiss can shoo the blues away. However, these PEA highs don't last forever. The body builds up a tolerance to it, just like it does with external amphetamines, man-made amphetamines.
Okay.
So that euphoric falling in love feeling dissipates and often spells the end of romance. So our secret then is to cultivate the natural endorphins, the PEA, the oxytocin, by doing all we can to make each other feel nice, comfortable, cuddled, and cared for. And then we trick the PEA chemicals into kicking in by challenging, surprising, and teasing each other, being creative together, and so on. And this is where the warrior comes in. Right? How can we make it different every time? How can I trick that PEA chemical to release so we fall in love all over again?
Mm-hmm.
And that takes the warrior's discipline. If we want to find and keep true love in our lives, it must be our top priority. We must commit to making love first if we want to make love last. And an English writer once said, the great tragedy of life is not that men perish, but that they cease to love. Loving, needing, depending on others, and having them love, need, and depend on us is a very good and a healing thing. Going out of our way to give pleasure does not turn us into wimps. It strengthens our relationships. Love is not something we feel, it's something we do. True love is action. The commandments then will help us cultivate our healthful obsessions for each other. And there are no shall nots. That there are no thou shalt not. We're referencing the Bible here, because in the Old Testament, the commandments in the Bible are all thou shalt not. So in these, there are no thou shalt nots. They are all positive actions for us to express love. And one way to actively love someone is to help them succeed in loving you.
Okay.
So we're
sounds
going
very
to
reasonable so far.
Yeah. I mean, but it's kind of in our faces, but it's nothing we've ever really truly acknowledged for.
Nothing we're told like that.
Right. To actively love someone is to help them succeed in loving me. And the same for him, right? So we're going to alternate. I was going to go with just the 10 commandments of the gentlemen and then go to the ladies, but we're going to alternate.
Okay, that's better.
We're going to start with the gentlemen, and you feel free to weigh in.
Okay. So the next one for the gals. Okay, let's go.
Right. So number 1, thou shalt accept him for who he is, ladies. A gentleman desperately needs to be accepted.
That's a good one. Yeah. So that's for the guys?
It's for ladies, for their men.
For ladies too. Okay. So we're starting with a commandment for the lady first. Okay.
For the men. Right.
That they should, but it's directed to her, right?
Yes. It's thou shalt. These are commandments for the ladies, for their men. Thou shalt accept him for who he is.
In a way, I mean, they both go for both, though kind of in this, it makes sense that it is maybe more common to see women that have a hard time with this than men. Men kind of, and this is, what happens with men on this one? This is really funny. So men are, since they're like, they can be more practical and not so idealistic, they will kind of just say, okay, I know I can't, I kind of want somebody better than you, but I know that this is all I can get. So I have the ability to settle for that, right? And that's seen as the most unromantic thing in the world. But in a real relationship, you would want this sincerity, right? But then what it reveals is that the man accepts the woman. He says, I could, she's good enough for me. She's not the best. Of course, I would, would be attracted to something better, but I accept her as she is.
Right.
I'm fine with that, right? And I think that So it is kind of more for the ladies. Okay.
Right.
So so keep going. Sorry.
So a gentleman desperately needs to be accepted, appreciated, and approved of, especially by the lady in his life. And the ultimate acceptance of the male is in the act of sexual intercourse, of course, accepting him into our bodies, ladies. Right? Biological and social factors drive the male. What? Sorry.
That reveals more stuff. Yeah, I'm just trying to skip some comments in between. Keep going.
Right. So biological and social factors drive the male to have sex with more urgency than the female. This is partly because men, you're full of testosterone, and because your penises are outside your bodies, constantly reminding you that you need to get laid right now. So ladies, when you're really not in the mood, at least say something sexually positive to him so he doesn't feel totally rejected. And I need to make right now a comment to this for men.
Okay.
When we were talking about minerals in the genetic code, and I think we got into selenium a little bit. Selenium is one of the most important minerals in our bodies. Okay. So ladies, if your man is a smoker, tobacco growers are spraying tobacco with a chemical that absolutely depletes the selenium in your body. And then they put that same chemical in the cigarettes because selenium is the most cancer protective agent. And so therefore they're intending to give you cancer. That's for the smokers. Next, beer. Okay, first of all, before we get to the beer, you need selenium, not just to protect against cancer. So men, if you have no selenium in your body, your glands, your sex glands are not going to make testosterone. They're going to make estrogen. Thereby turning you into a woman who doesn't want to have sex. And then you drink beer on top of it. That's full of estrogen. And I'm in this kind of a relationship right now. I'm with a man who's very much a woman who does not want to have sex because he's got no testosterone, because he's got no selenium in his body.
Okay.
So he doesn't do this for me. So in our relationship, he does not, when he's not in the mood, he doesn't even say anything sexually positive for me, so I don't feel rejected.
Oh, he doesn't? Oh, man.
No, because he's not aware that he's now the woman.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That's
so
kind of weird,
I just came across this discovery the other day, and it's been like mind-blowing, and it's like, well, that's why he's acting like a woman with no libido, because he's got no testosterone.
Well, he has to have some to kind of be able to work and stuff.
But the most of it is being transformed into estrogen because of no selenium in his body.
And then all the his body having to deal with all the work and everything, and that I think that's what the system does. It systematically leaves you without wanting sex. That's pretty fucked up.
It is. When you look at this, it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. Right? So in our impersonal cybernetic world, the male needs acceptance more than ever. And we both do. Sexual acceptance and emotional acceptance. So accepting him means not asking him to live up to our ladies' expectations, but accepting him as we find him and rejoicing in his manhood as in all that he is. So men, for women, thou shalt pay attention to the details of her desire. In the times of the troubadours, the Holy Grail was the very special symbol of the power of love. So the Grail, man, holds the love of your lady. You men then must follow her pleasure points to win the cup that overflows with her love. And it's not an easy path to follow, and it requires your full attention. So the first question is, what kind of sex does she want to have?
Mm.
If you have sex with her only according to your desires and not hers, she will go numb on you. And ladies' sexuality has been so repressed, denigrated, belittled, and ignored that they just tend to stop feeling sexual. They channel their erotic feelings into more acceptable pursuits. So if you want your lady to be a great horny woman, then you must honor her female sexual nature and discover the pleasure points throughout her body and pay attention to the details of her desire. A wise man once said that the greatest living experience for every man is his adventure into a woman. Most females do the choosing in the mating game, even in nature. So, but if you pay attention to your lady, she'll choose you every time. And a female needs to feel safe to feel pleasure. Her pleasure requires a foundation of comfort and support. And the window to her deep desires opens only to the extent that she feels safe. So you can support your female primate by helping her take care of the details of her life before you even get to the details of her desire. She must feel loved and cared for to enjoy pleasure. It's like, okay, for me, it's like having him help when I could fix the plumbing under my kitchen sink, having him come do it for me. That's right. That's taking care of a little detail of my life. Right. Okay. It would take me probably an hour to do it. It takes him 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? Most women are very involved in caring for and pleasing others. This pulls them away from the details of their own desires. So when she is temporarily released from her duties to others, she can start feeling her desire for pleasure. And arousal in the female gives you plenty of time is slow, so it gives you plenty of time to pay attention to her desire. Another wise man said that most men pleasure with such breathless haste that they hurry right past it.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yes. So it's not about getting you laid, it's about giving her pleasure, because if you give her pleasure, she's gonna freaking lay you better than you could have ever dreamt of.
So you got to think of the next one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to really pay attention to the details of her desire, a gentleman needs to get in touch with his feminine side. So start by paying attention to the details of anything considered to be women's work. Many men are taught to feel contempt for women's work, and so the so-called effeminate emotions like caring or fussing. So basically, man, you need to get over that if you're one of those men, because paying attention to those details won't make you less of a man. It will truly make you a gentle man and a master pleasure giver. Okay, number 2 for ladies, thou shalt adore his penis.
Okay, yeah. You told me about that one.
Yep. Men love their penises, and so should we, ladies. His penis is not just his greatest source of pleasure. It's his identity, his thrust into the future, his proudest possession, his best friend, his most powerful and most vulnerable body part. So ladies, develop a relationship with his penis. Talk about it and how much you love it. Often, several times.
And some women know. Yeah, and some women have that. They know that. Yeah, but only some. Yeah. Not everyone.
Yeah.
And no. Yeah, and so for those that don't know that, yeah, this is the kind of thing that it's interesting, since in sexuality everything's kind of too private and not talked about, and so a lot of people know some of these and other people don't know them, and for those who don't, there's like, what? It can even be kind of mind shocking, I guess. Because of other situations, issues. Right. Like not being fully kind of I don't know, having issues.
Being armored. Just being armored, really, basically.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, being armored. That's it.
Yeah. The bottom line is every man likes to have his penis touched, right, Julian?
Oh yeah, well, and any part, and
Yeah,
Who
but
wouldn't?
penis. We're so ladies, you can even
Yeah, there's
kiss
this
your
kind of
penis before you
magnetism
kiss
that
his lip.
it's like, yeah, there's this magnetism of yeah, I want to get my whatever my leg touched, but there's gonna be this pull towards that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I would say for that, like an addition to the advice would be, but I guess it's not the same because then we would have to kind of make the distinction between circumcised and uncircumcised men, because that would be there be a difference. Yes, there's a difference. Tell you which one it is. The uncircumcised ones are a lot more sensitive, so you can't just like get all wild with it. You know, you got to be really
That
with
makes
a
sense.
make a soft touch, right?
Right.
Because which is not what happens with uncircumcised men, which, you know, they've lost some sensitivity there, so
Yeah.
they want like a you know, stronger rub, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the human penis is a marvelous and rather moody appendage, and the bottom line, men, is that you do not need an erection to share many erotic pleasures.
Mm-hmm.
The Victorians used to think that overuse of the penis led to impotency, and modern science has now realized that underuse is more likely to lead to early impotency.
Yeah.
There are pleasure points in the penis, ladies. The most sensitive is the head or the glands, especially the rim. Of course, the whole shaft is a pleasure point too, as is the perineum, halfway between the base of the scrotal sac and the anus. Oh, and the anus is also a major pleasure point for both of us. But a lot of pleasure points can also be points of pain, fear, disgust, and embarrassing, with the butthole being the classic one. This is what Wilhelm Reich talked about. The armoring starts when we're babies, okay? So the truth is that nature lines the human anus. This is the absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
Nature lines the human anus with a wealth of nerve endings, so we all feel good about defecating, about taking a dump, taking a poop, having a poop.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's a pleasurable experience. So this is what Wilhelm Reich talked about. When we as parents are changing our babies' diapers and are disgusted with their poop, with the smell and everything, we're already starting that armoring, because pooping is an incredibly pleasurable experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those nerve endings can then respond with intense pleasure or pain to any form of stimulation, not just elimination. And then, of course, his nipples can be also very sensitive. That's a hard one to get
to some old man. There's this kind of very internalized kind of anal phobia kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm not gay. Don't touch me back there. I'm not gay.
Yeah. And you know what I've observed? It's kind of linked to, did you know that in astrology, the Virgo is it's a, what would you say? How would you say the anal complex, repressed anal complex, and Scorpio is the contrary, is liberated anal complex. So Virgos are a little harder to get that. They have, like, I would even guess literally their ass is tighter at any given moment. They're kind of, you know, that's, and they don't like being pleasured there. I've asked Virgos, and they have that kind of anal phobia thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, for men, for ladies, thou shalt stimulate her senses.
Mm-hmm.
Sexual pleasure is sensual. We perceive and receive pleasure through our ears, our eyes, our nostrils, the tips of our tongues, and the surfaces of our skin. We cannot connect with erotic pleasure except through the five senses. So to give a lady pleasure, you need to help her relax her defensive and defenses and wake up her senses. Most men get turned on just by looking at an attractive lady. And we from the two energies, we know that that's true, right? Females are not so visual. It's more vital to say things to her that turn her on. A man falls in love with his eyes, a woman through her ears. So entice her into oral sex, not O-R-A-L, it's A-R-U-L, oral, right?
Okay.
Tell her you want her, you crave her, you love her passionately. Tell her stories, find out her dreams and fantasies. Say the words she needs to hear, but don't lie. Don't just, like icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
And men, if you want your lady to swallow, which we're going to get into, that's a commandment for the men, the taste of your semen needs to be good. So it has to do with what you eat. Asparagus makes urine smell rancid, and semen also just as bad. Some say the taste improves if he eats lots of celery. And also anything flavored with cinnamon will also help, as cinnamon is the sex spice.
Okay.
So females generally love to combine food and sex, so go wild with this. The biggest sexual organ for both men and women is skin. So revel in the luscious glory of her flesh as you caress her, because the pleasure of touch is very powerful. It relieves stress and you can even cure illness. So ways to touch her would be to cuddle up. The feminine body craves touch. Being cuddled can make her feel girlish, safe, comfy, cherished, and very close to you. So a sub-commandment here would be, thou shalt cuddle your lady, man.
Mm-hmm.
Essential massage. The female loves massage. Tease her with your fingers in a way that's not explicitly sexual, but very erotic. And the male needs to be teased because it slows him down, but the female needs to be teased because it makes her come around. Don't grab her titties or grind them into her chest, man. That's a common one.
Mm-hmm.
And then water is one of the great life-endowing aphrodisiacs. Sipping it, soaking in it, etc. So draw her a bubble bath lit by candles, and then lick and suck her from toes to nose. Worship her body with your hands or tongue, because it's from loving touch that we obtain extreme pleasure, comfort when we're in pain, relaxation when we're tense, and the certainty that we're not alone in this uncertain world. So commandment number 3 for women, thou shalt be the source of beauty in his life. Whether it's the way you look, walk, dress, dance, or smile. Most gentlemen like to touch, smell, taste, listen, and they love to look at you. Be a pleasure to his eyes, and he'll never take them off of you. Dress for sex sometimes.
Yeah.
And most of all, enjoy your body, women.
Yeah. Yeah, and some women know how to harness that.
Yeah.
And some women, very common to see that that would be the wrong thing to do, is that's the only thing they know how to do, because everything else, there's nothing there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There was a whole lot more to this, but not something we need to go into tonight. I might go deeper with this for the OWL Freedom Dojo training program, especially for youth, but we didn't need to do it for tonight. So, ladies, for men, thou shalt compliment her meaningfully and often. Because a female generally likes to show off in some way and be applauded and appreciated for who she is and what she does. And just reading this and typing this alone has been one of the most healing for me, because I'm always seeking validation. And I didn't realize that this is just me, a normal female desire, wanting to be applauded and appreciated, right, for who I am. So men, be her biggest fan. Worship her body, and she'll share it with you. Respect her mind. Yes, absolutely. And she will give you the key to unlock her desires. Feeling beautiful, smart, and adored will make her feel very sexy. Compliment her during sex. Tell her that you adore the shape of her breasts, her luscious lips, both sets, and more. Again, I'm not going very deep with this. We can go a whole lot deeper, but let your compliments touch her heart as your fingertips touch her skin. Say her name or a pet name often, especially during sex, because her name is a powerful sound to her ears. Compliment her when she gets dressed up or wears something different. And then put your compliments on paper and leave them, put them on notes lying around waiting for her to find them. And then find special ways to sing her praises to her. Number 4, ladies, thou shalt inspire him. One of every man's greatest pleasures is to feel inspired. Within every gentleman is an artist of sorts, an inner poet, a philosopher, or a dreamer thirsting for inspiration from his muse. And ladies, we are his muse. So when a woman inspires a man, we ignite his passion, set his soul on fire, and direct him to the right path. A woman's intelligence, spirituality, beauty, and integrity are great inspirations, and our pleasure is his greatest. So most men work to get laid and love ladies who love sex. So our pleasure, ladies, can actually heal his pain. So shine a light on his path to your pleasure points. Show him the way to your holy grail. Inspire him with your goodness, your strength, your courage, and your talents. Open up to him. Let him inside of you, not just your body, but your soul, your mind, and your psyche. Be a beacon to him. Help him evolve into a true gentleman who serves his lady, his muse, the light of his life. Throughout the mysteries and mythologies of many cultures, the female is a provider of light. At the stroke of Jewish Sabbath, the lady of the house is the one to usher in the holy day by lighting the sacred candles. In the Eleusinian mysteries of ancient Greece, the women carried torches to softly light the way toward growth and understanding. So ladies, this is what we do for men. Not nag them. And I'm very skilled at nagging.
Yeah.
I think most of us are.
Yeah.
We grew up being taught how to nag men, not inspire him. So this is my biggest.
That's the transformative commandment right there.
Yeah.
To remember
how to inspire him instead of nag him. Right? Okay, man. Thou shalt encourage her to show you how she likes to be touched.
Show you how okay.
Thou shalt encourage her to show you how she
because it
likes.
happens that a woman will want you to know, but you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and she doesn't want to tell you because it's not romantic.
It might not be safe.
You're not a man enough. What? You failed.
Yeah.
So hey,
you might just ignore her. Right.
That's and then you also see this where the man or a woman will think they know how, and they kind of don't, which is very funny. Something I was observing. Every single person thinks they're really good at sex.
Well, that's the biggest sign of a fool, is someone who thinks he or she knows everything there is to know.
Yeah. But that's something that everybody, I mean, since it's been so kept underground, that we all think we're good at it, and until we actually step into another era of our life when we just are open to seeing that we don't know everything, or at least in this aspect, because in the rest of things in life, it's you can already be very open and humble, but in sex, and there's going to be a beep on this, of course.
Yeah. So the most orgasmically advanced people are on the Polynesian island of Mangaia.
Okay.
Almost all of Mangaian females have 2 or 3 orgasms every time they have sex.
Yeah, or a prolonged. Yeah.
Upon entering puberty, Mangayan boys go through a series of initiating rites instructing them in the methods of stimulating women to maximize sexual pleasure.
Mhm.
Then an experienced older woman begins training the boys of 13 through 14 in the arts of giving pleasure to women. And they know more about female sexuality than most Western doctors. They believe that female sexuality or female sexual pleasure is absolutely necessary to a successful, fulfilling sexual union, and I would agree 100% with that.
Mm.
So, man, encourage your lady then to be your Mangayan initiatrix, to show you and tell you what gives her pleasure before sex, during sex, and after sex. And ladies, that's where we need to be able to, and willing to dive into ourselves to know what gives us pleasure. And that's not
And then
about
that, yeah,
masturbation. It's what gives us pleasure. We have to. What gives
Mhm.
us pleasure?
Explore that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, number 5, ladies, thou shalt excite him. You keep him eroticized and just a bit off balance. Female pleasure is like a flower. It needs water, lubrication, support, warmth, sunshine. Male pleasure is like a car. It needs to be driven. So I didn't go deeper with this than that. Julian, maybe you can tell us what it takes to excite a man. What, you know.
Well, I like this. I recently, not so long ago, I saw this graph about the difference of the male and female orgasm kind of curve.
Right.
And so the woman's is it's kind of slow, and it needs some, it's like it needs constancy, right? You need to be constant. And even how the well, this is not from the graph, but I'm gonna like add this to that, which is the way you do it, where I've, you know, the little I've learned is that in the women, you want to there's a need for change in the stimulation. That you need to change the rhythm,
Yeah.
you need to change the, you know, the touch, etc. That's like a necessary thing to build up to this curve. Once it reaches the curve, it's it's kind of like it can be sustained up high. That's the multiple orgasms, so you can like have 1, 2, 3, whatever, or more. And then there's a slow coming down the curve. So that's a woman's curve. So the man's curve, it's kind of more sharp,
Steep.
going up, steep, and in the way it must be pleasure, it's contrary to the woman, where it doesn't. I mean, change is good as far as you're not wanting to climb the curve. And the man can do this, where he will just, you know, kind of enjoy and want to do this, to enjoy like everything about the experience without still kind of going for the final, you know, because in men the orgasm is very kind of definite, where it really kind of takes away a little bit of energy, and you need a resting period. You can't just keep at it unless you might exceptionally have that. But like, so the man can only do one. That's the simple way to say it, right?
Right.
And so he, like, if you're kind of getting older on this, you learn to enjoy everything else before going for the home run, you know. But of course, you want a home run at the end, right? So
Right.
there's where the man.
And I think that's the most important, right? Is enjoying everything else.
Yeah. So that's when the man knows perfectly, and even in a way that he wants to, like, I want to, like, I don't want just the home run, right, anymore. It doesn't satisfy me, right? I need to do some other, you know, playing. And even at some moments, I can go for just the doing it, and even if I don't go for a home run, I don't get an orgasm. It's satisfying enough sometimes, just everything else. And that's where you can change around, change the rhythm, whatever. But if we're
Right.
talking about the orgasm, then in the man, it's kind of interesting because it's the other way around. That's what I've been observing, where it's not it requires stability. So it requires like a build up and even maybe a little bit of increase in the stimulation, and it does not want changes, not in rhythm and not in like even maybe an increase in rhythm can be kind of negative to building up on the curve. It can also want to have just steady kind of intense stimulation with no changes until he finally climbs the curve. And once he reaches a curve, it's like a steep drop. That's the most awful thing that men ever ever got to have, because it's a steep drop into depression, because I've read about how some chemicals are released that are similar, or some state is reached
Right.
in the mind that is very similar to depression. And,
Yeah.
and it is like that. I mean, we feel that, and it's like, it's also like all the desire is gone, which then that's many times something that men seek for too. It's like the only moment in life you can be without the wanting sex is that moment after the, and that's when it's
Okay.
important for the ladies not to get kind of, because since the lady is different and she has to come down the curve kind
Slowly.
of slowly, kind of be comprehensive of these differences in the curve, where she's not going to feel bad that the man is just completely gone right after that. It's like
Right.
dead.
Right.
He doesn't want to know about anything. He just wants to lay still and
Yeah.
and recover.
Well, and then part of that too then would, because if we look at what we talked about, the gentle art of making love that came from Michio Kushi, and expanding sex as expanding our consciousness. So one of the what the New Age terms is ascension symptoms of expanding consciousness is fatigue. So if that makes sense, that wow, I just had the most amazing orgasm of my life. I just need to be in solitude and sleep.
Well, it's temper. I mean, the steep drop, it's like it's like 3 minutes. It's it. And then you can go back into cuddling, or you can stay cuddled, or you can develop the skill even if you're down in the pit to be there for your woman, kind of. But it's got to be very, very, very subtle. It's got to be kind of understanding that the energy is gone for those
Right.
3 minutes. It can come back later.
Well, and that's,
but not
I
go into this.
think that's the most important thing is the consciousness.
Yeah. Wanting to be there for each other, being conscious. That's always what it is. Yeah, you're right.
Right. Rather than just, no, I'm done. I'm going to sleep. I'm rolling on my side and turning my back to you.
Yeah, that's something that. Well, then we would talk about. I would kind of go into next step, kind of. Well, not next step, but there can be like amazing. I think it's all right to have. When you live with someone, this is in the situation when you actually live with someone. In my opinion, because there's a lot of talk about that all sex needs to be wonderful and incredible and healing and making love, and I agree with that. But I also think there should be a little bit of sometimes just a more kind of routine kind of. I mean, to me, it's not bad. The routine kind of, even get it out of the way kind of sex, to me personally, is not kind of forbidden, right? It's that kind of.
Well, it's
it can be there
practically, right?
But I mean, but in the sense of, what if? Yeah, let's can we have just something quick and simple, like a quickie? Who doesn't like a quickie?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think quickies are
sure.
good.
Yeah, quickies are good.
Because you got to get back. I mean, you got to keep in mind that we're in a situation in the world right now where, yeah, that's wonderful, necessary, important that we find ways, the freedom to make ourselves the spaces to actually have this plentiful experiences. But at the same time, sometimes we won't find the time or the energy. But then that's when a quickie is not that bad.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a quickie. But part of this exciting him was the age-old story of man is naturally a hunter, and he needs to stalk you. And if you make yourself too available for him, he's going to lose interest.
Oh,
is it time to change?
That's
that
kind
story?
of, I don't know. I think that is changing with the eras, with the times, with the generations, because, I'll tell you my feeling already. I have like one foot in the old folk kind of era and one foot in the young people era. And I feel that there's this kind of accumulative energy of we're tired of, of how hard it is to, and this situation of too much hunting down, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like, I think the young people are they rather go gay than have to deal with that. And that's what's happening. It's that bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's why I didn't say anything, because I think the story needs to change.
And there's a little bit of, that happens like naturally sometimes when it's not like this causes that. It's kind of more like, well, you just have to pick up like a woman. She needs to know, because the guys are always down for just sex, right?
Right.
And they're lying motherfuckers, and they'll keep their mouth shut or do whatever, or say the right thing if it's not kind of totally honest, so they can get the sex, right?
Right.
And then of course the woman could be a lot less naive about it, and kind of just know, because you just know this guy he just wants to get in bed with me, and that's as far as he wants. Or there's this other connection, there's something else, and so just knowing that would be a lot. So that's when the men sometimes end up, or the woman would think that that the man is that because she was too, because I believe also that if you feel something is right, that you can just jump at it at the first moment. You don't have to kind of play a role of, I need to be chased down. It is always good to kind of take it slowly. That's always good. Like, let yourself know each other. But also, I think we got to get rid of this idea that the sex is the kind of like it's like signing a contract. So the relationship changes once you've had sex. I don't think that should be such a big kind of gate. I think we should allow ourselves to have sex without still feeling that we're engaged to each other, kind of. And I think men especially need that to really like know, or I don't know, men, maybe women too, right? Know each other sexually before we can actually make a decision. I want to be with this person.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a little stronger in men. Maybe it's a little more with the woman, since physiologically she's the one receiving, and she, and she's the one to her it's a lot more of a, and to her to open up to sex, it requires a lot more psychological kind of opening up, etc. Where the man, it's outside. you know, you said, you know, the penis is just hanging out, so the guy's always down for it. He
Yeah.
doesn't need to open up.
Well, but you know, when we look at the Trobriand Islanders and the research done on the tribe in India and the tribe in Africa, there wasn't any of this shit, right? The young men and the young women just got together and were sexually satisfied,
Yeah.
you know, as they were growing up, and then they favored one another over each other, and they got, quotes, married, but they still had affairs. And it wasn't, oh my God, he cheated on me. Oh my God, she cheated on me.
Yeah, that's what we should strive to learn from and build.
Yeah,
But I think that needs to be accompanied by the actual everything else, which is what I would call the land free of evil. This concept is, which is what we're trying to do. By the way, anyone listening to this,
we're not trying, we're doing.
Yeah, we're doing. Yeah,
so.
Better way to say it. We are building, and that's what a lot of people don't believe that's possible, or don't even understand it. But once you understand it, once you understand that it is possible to have these land free of evil, then you can shift. You can actually have healthy relationships, and it doesn't mean that we can't walk that way right now from where we are in a land with evil.
Right, we have to walk that way before. Yes, exactly.
But I think that to be fully there, for that to just fully work for everyone, it's until you're there, right? And for now, we need to make compromises. We need to, because we're not fully there.
No, and we'll never be fully there. It's always all about the journey. We have this is kind of the duality mind frame. It's either or, right? It's either or.
Well, I think we you know, I would
either I'm an alcoholic or I'm not an alcoholic, right?
I seem to find that moment where I say I'm fully there. I mean, I'll call a moment like when like the community
temporary moments.
It's been built enough, and there's enough people living there, and so that this can start. And I would call that kind of, we're there.
Well, I mean, there's temporary moments, and then there's because we have to realize all of this is programmed into us for centuries, so we're not going to get rid of it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, not in a heartbeat, but yeah.
It takes practice, so it's a journey, and there will be moments when we're fully there, and then moments when we're fully not there, and we just have to allow each moment to be as it is and not judge it.
Yeah. Oh, that's always, not judge the walking there, and
exactly.
not being fully there, and not judge making mistakes, because we make them.
So take, for instance, Jaime was supposed to come help me on Monday. He had gotten fired on Thursday because he mouthed off to his bosses, and they sent him home. And so he thought he was maybe going to be off for a week. But I knew by Sunday evening he was like, I got to work. Right. But he had agreed to come work with me. We had talked on Saturday evening. He was like, I have this whole week off. I'll work with you. We'll get so much done. And I was like, and I will support you financially in any way I can. So this was very much a pleasure point. And then he calls me Monday morning and tells me his boss has called and said, get back to work now. So he's on his way and to his work. And
maybe you want to tell me about it after the show.
Well, a few weeks ago, even a week ago, I would have gone into Ingrid, while feeling bad, I would have been resisting the feeling disappointed by saying, you got too attached to the outcome. No, I honored my feelings. My feelings. And the more I honored my feelings, the less angry I became.
Yeah.
and less hurt.
Wow. Wow. So that's pretty profound. So, well, I think we should continue this next week. Most certainly.
Let's go to no, we're past. We'll start with next week with for the men, thou shalt listen to her. We'll start with that next week. Number 5 for the men.
Okay, so let's go with 5 remaining for the men.
Yeah, so we'll pleasant commandments again for next week.
So this is very, very, very interesting and fun. So it's, of course, making us stay longer and talk about it more. And it's great because this is what must be spoken. And I know this is going to be a great show for everyone. Very informative kind of conversation for everyone. So let's just continue it next week. And leave you guys hanging.
So the one thing I didn't bring up is this author said that the war on this whole concept of codependency has been a war on relationships to keep us isolated, which I agree with. Because until now, it's been like, I'm a strong woman. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. I don't need a man, but I want him. Right? I want him. I want him. He makes my life easier. And so when I was finally able to stand there on Monday with my mesa and just allow myself to say, this is natural. This is natural for me to feel so let down. It's natural. Absolutely natural. Doesn't make me bad or anything.
Yeah.
It's natural. We have to understand we need each other. We need to be in relationship. It's a biological need. It's not codependency. It's a biological need.
Wow. Changed the whole discourse of a lot of psychology of today.
Yes, because the psychology has driven us apart and made us believe that we're weak for needing someone. No, I'm still perfect. Here's the difference. I'm still perfectly okay. I can pick up and live today and be happy, but I have to let myself feel this disappointment, because if I don't, I'm going to get violent verbally with him. Right? I'm going to say mean ass shit and I know this from experience. So this is the first time I honored myself enough to allow myself to actually just cry and say, okay, universe, I know both of us had wishes and both of us needed the wishes fulfilled, and his took precedence because his wish was so much stronger. It doesn't make me hate him or make me think he's bad or anything like that. It just gave me the opportunity to grow into an expanded consciousness of, this is okay for me to need this. It's okay for me to feel this. And know I'm still okay without it. Okay. So I think that's, we so pride ourselves on being so isolationist when it's a biological need to be in relationship.
It is. So that's been said. And okay, so we should leave people with that, so that they think about that. I think it's a wonderful change.
It is. It is. Really is.
So let's not kind of say goodbye. Let's just pick it up next week. Yeah.
So, after I honored myself, then my pain body wanted to go into the last thing. My pain body wanted to go into telling stories. And that was when I was able to go out to my back porch and just say, I am receptive of divine love. I am receptive of divine love. And it only took me a couple minutes of saying that before I just came to complete peace within myself. And I was happy.
Yeah.
So we can't, there's this whole bullshit new age spirituality shit of constantly transcending or shifting. You can't shift. you can't transcend until you've allowed yourself to be with what's coming up. And what's coming up is a basic biological need for a relationship. Then you can watch and say, okay, now I want to go into telling pain stories so I can make myself get pissy and angry, and and that's when you transcend. But first you have to honor. First you have to honor what comes up.
Yeah.
So that's that's a huge shift that no counselor or therapist or anybody talks about. Not at all.
No, it's a real danger with psychologists today. If there's no other worldview kind of included,
you're feeling that way because you're codependent.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Or you're feeling that way because you're narcissistic.
That's right? Oh man, that's you. Yeah.
The two extremes: codependency or narcissism.
To therapists, but I do find a lot of posts and a lot of TikTokers and psychologists that record their TikToks and say these kind of things.
Yeah, exactly.
So my kids are gonna walk in. They've been waiting outside. So
okay. Well, have a good night.
No, I mean, I just letting you know that we can continue. Just let me know when you want to kind of cut the conversation on live.
Yeah, let's end the live stream. That was all I wanted to say on live stream for sure.
Okay. Amazing. So we'll catch up next week, folks. So see you soon.
Yeah.